we are a junior exploration company. I am going to make some forward-looking statements as we proceed through this. We are a Southwest U.S. gold explorer. Our flagship asset is the Gold Chain project in Arizona. On that project, and this is definitely the forward-looking statement, one thing that I want to get across to you here is that is a district-scale project. And on one of the targets there, we have an exploration target of 19 to 30 million tons at 2 to 3 grams a ton gold. That exploration, just to do the math for you, that works out to 1 to 3 million ounces on patented claims at surface in Arizona. We are well funded. We just closed a $25 million financing, so we have $30 million in cash, and so we are drilling. We have 15,000 meter program underway, and there's 5,000 meters of results that are in the lab waiting to come out. We have a good, diverse team. Won't talk about it here. You can come talk to us about it at our booth later. But a good, diverse team, not just technical people and not just finance people, but a little bit of everything. And a few of our team members are here. And then lastly, we have our Nevada portfolio. We won't talk about them today just because in the interest of time. But our Nevada portfolio, investors should look at that as option value. We're partnered with Kinross on Jefferson Canyon. Our Baxter Spring project has a really attractive target. And I like Tip Top as well. And so we have, all of those projects are advanced exploration. All of them have 100 plus drill holes in them. All of them have some pretty good grades in those drill holes. And so it is a good set of assets. And as we advance Gold Chain, we'll look at a way to monetize those for the benefit of shareholders. Very quickly on the capital structure, 134 million shares out. I think there's two key things on this slide. One, we have lots of cash. Two, those 20 million warrants that are outstanding are all in the money. And 3/4 of them or 90% of them are accelerable. We get it. We've gotten in about $1 million a month in warrants right now. And so steady flow of cash coming in. We actually finished Q4 with more cash than we started it with, despite drilling 5,000 meters. And then recent financing, the key thing in that financing was a very institutional heavy raise. And you could see some of the funds that came in. Why are they excited? That's why we're excited, is our Gold Chain project in Arizona. This is the one thing, even for the Southwest U.S., this project has exceptional infrastructure. Our exploration office is kind of right here next to McDonald's. It's a 20-minute drive to the site. So I can pick up coffees or Big Macs or what have you and deliver them to the drill rig still warm. You can't say that everywhere. There's a hydroelectric dam here called Davis Dam. We're about 60 miles or 100 kilometers south of the Hoover Dam. There's a high tension power line that runs along this 4-lane highway. Additionally, and this is an interesting part about Arizona, we have patented claims at the core of our project, almost 300 acres worth. In Arizona, when you have private land, which patents are, you have subsurface water rights. Now, do we have enough water to build a modern mining operation? We don't know yet. We got to do that work, but we do have water rights. And then lastly, often in the U.S., Chen just talked about the acceleration of permitting, and we are seeing an improvement there. But even if that doesn't hold, this is an area where you can permit a mine. Here to the south of us is the Moss Mine. It's an active mining operation. It was permitted in 2017. It's similar to us. It's a combination of patented claims and federal BLM land. And so even in a much less favorable permitting environment, they were able to get permits. So I think that's a positive, and that gives us confidence that we'll be able to build a mine here when the time comes. Now, that exploration target I spoke to briefly, and I think this is an important point, that only covers this 1 kilometer right here of the project. We have 3 large-scale targets here. The Tyro vein system, so it's 3.5 kilometers long, it's a northeast trending structure. We're exploring along that, stepping out from the Tyro main zone. The Banner Sheep Trail trend, that green line that you see there, it's 15 kilometers long. Multiple targets on it, both defined by mapping, sampling, geophysics, and some historic drilling, some very good numbers there. And then the Frisco Graben. And the Frisco Graben is the big potential target for us. You have 2 major faults that were pulled apart and create the space for the hydrothermal fluids to come in. At surface, it's not that exciting. It just looks like a bunch of altered rocks. I know the geologists in the room probably get excited looking at it, but it is a similar setting, what you would see at Silicon Merlin, Anglo's major 14.5 million ounce discovery. Now, we got to drill a few holes to discover 14.5 million ounces, but it's the right geologic setting and has that kind of potential. We drilled 4 holes into it last year, had technical success. We're chasing some of our other targets right now, but it's certainly an area that we are going to go back to at some point. Why, we've drilled about 15,000 meters of drilling across its history at Gold Chain. About 10,000 of it is into the Tyro main zone, and this is why. This mine was mined in the 80s, or this slot was mined in the 80s. As I've said to several people, thank God they didn't know what they were doing. They pre-sold the blocks at 4 grams a ton. They mined 2 grams a ton. They went bankrupt. That gave us the opportunity here. If they had known what they were doing, this would be a big hole in the ground already. You can see here in the background the underground workings, which we've mapped and sampled, that are open at the 200 level. And this is what we did at the Tyro main zone. So we started off 2023, we drilled 44 meters at 2 grams. Here, 2024, we drilled 89 meters at 1.1. Within that, there's 36 meters at 2. And then things got interesting. We went and drilled hole 34. So that's 42 meters at 2.5 grams from surface, but we hit a 9-foot stope in that hole. And we know that stope was from 100 years ago, and we know those guys weren't mining half-gram material when they were down there working by hand. So we came back and drilled underneath it. And we drilled 47, 48, and 49. And you can see there, 30 meters at 9 grams. That's 120 meters from surface. As I like to say, we hit underground grades at open pit depths. And so those 3 holes started to define what is a high-grade zone at the northeast end. And we've defined that over now 300 meters in strike length, down to 200 meters in depth. Last holes we put out on Wednesday, we drilled the highlight hole was 21 meters at 13 grams. That represents the 7th, plus 250 gram meter hole we put into this northeast zone. And so we're getting consistent grades. This is what that 10,000 meters in drilling looks like. You could see here, that's the hole we just put out. You can see here, hole 48, that's 47, 48, and 49. So we've been stretching it at depth and expanding it along strike. And so that zone plunges sort of like this. And we're going to continue to step out and pursue it and chase it to depth as well. And so our objective here, about half our drilling this year of that 15,000 meter program is going in to convert this to a maiden resource. And so part of that is to stretch it to depth down to 300 meters, which is sort of typical vertical extent for low sulfidation epithermal in the Oatman district where we are. But the other half is to chase some of our step out targets. And so all we've really been talking about, as I said, is that 1 kilometer of the Tyro main zone there. Obviously, because it stuck out of the ground, it sticks out of the ground. That was the kind of what we went after first to start to build value. But the thing about this property is that we have at least a dozen high potential targets on it. And now we've got the capital in hand to go out and test those other targets. First and foremost is the target called Tyro South. You can see the Tyro main zone there, and you can see Tyro South. Tyro South is 1.2 kilometers long, so similar scale to the Tyro main zone. The only difference is that we don't get gold at surface like we do in the Tyro main zone. That's typical of a low sulfidation epithermal system. Sometimes you can be above the zone. What gets us excited is that 11.5 gram sample right there. The pretty colors you see on here are gold grade, so purple is greater than 10 grams a ton sample. That 11.5 gram a ton sample is off a shaft. So some poor guy 100 years ago was down a hole about twice the size of this podium mining, 60 feet down. I mean, we know he wasn't chasing half a gram. The evidence of it is off that dump where we have that sample. And so that's the opportunity for us. We've come out, we've drilled half a dozen holes, assays pending into Tyro South. Additionally, we're going to test Sheep Trail. You can see all there's 15 plus 10 gram samples there. We did a little bit of drilling in 2023. Didn't hit the zone. Think we just drilled too shallow, so we've come back and going to drill deeper. And we're going to chase some of the other targets as well. We put some holes into Black Dyke, where there's a target here called Gold Chain Hill. There's a target out here called Bull 8. And our objective is to keep drilling and find it. And so our objective for this year is sort of twofold, that 15,000 meter drill program. First and foremost, we want to deliver the resource at the Tyro main zone, and we expect to do that, be able to put that out later this year. The second is to make a discovery at one of those other targets. I can control the first one. I can't really control the second one. Mother Nature's got to play along, but we think that there's a real potential that one of these targets pans out. Additionally, we'll have some metallurgical testing out later this quarter. For our Nevada projects, which we haven't talked about, Jefferson Canyon's in the process of permitting. I'm really hoping that Kinross is out there drilling this summer, get some free news flow out of them. Baxter Spring is the asset we just acquired in Q4. That project is, we're designing and permitting a 5,000 meter drill program. Haven't committed to drilling it yet, but it's certainly something we'll think about. And everything I've just told you that we're doing, we are well funded for, $30 million in cash and $10 million of in the money warrants. Thank you very much.